The battlefield was silent now. The great warship floated in the endless dark broken pieces of metal drifting around it like dead leaves on water. Smoke filled the ruined corridors. Bodies, both human and alien, lay where they had fallen. The war had ended in blood, but for one soldier, the true story was only beginning. Sergeant Ryan Hale moved carefully through the wreckage. His armor was cracked, his rifle nearly empty, but his will to survive was stronger than ever. Every step echoed in the silence, reminding him that he was one of the few left alive. He had been trained to kill, to show no weakness, to destroy the alien enemy without mercy. And yet, in the shadows of the ruined chamber, he saw something that froze his heart. A figure lay against the cold wall, breathing weakly. Her skin shimmered faintly under the flickering light, pale and almost silver, with strange patterns glowing softly across her arms. She was unlike any alien he had seen before. Her eyes opened slowly, large and bright, filled not with rage but with pain and fear. For a moment, Ryan raised his rifle. His finger rested on the trigger. This was the enemy. This was the reason his friends were dead. One squeeze and she would be gone. But before he could fire, she spoke. Her voice was broken, soft but clear enough to make him hesitate. "Show mercy, human," she whispered. Her lips trembled as she forced out the words. "My body will give you powerful offspring." Ryan froze. His mind spun with disbelief. Was this some trick? Some alien trap to weaken his guard? Aliens never begged. They fought. They killed. They cursed humanity with their last breath. But this one was different. He lowered his rifle slightly, though his heart kept pounding. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice sharp, suspicious. The alien coughed, her body trembling. "I am the last of my kind, my people. They are dying. But if you spare me, human, if you let me live, my body can give you children. Children with power beyond anything you know." Her words cut through the silence like a blade. Children with a human? Ryan's training screamed at him. She was lying. This was manipulation. But something in her eyes, something desperate and real, made him pause. He stepped closer, keeping his rifle ready but unable to walk away. He studied her face, the sharp lines softened by weakness, the strange beauty of her alien form. Her voice shook, but her words carried a strange weight, as if she knew this was the only way to survive. "You expect me to believe that?" Ryan asked. "That your kind, our enemy, would give me power?" Her eyes glistened with tears, though he was not sure if they were real or just another weapon. "Not enemy," she whispered. "Not anymore. You fight, you win, but war only brings death. With me, with what I carry, you can create something new. Stronger than human, stronger than alien, a legacy that will outlive the stars." Ryan's chest tightened. Legacy. The word struck deep. He thought of his fallen squad, of the endless war that consumed Earth and every colony. What if she was telling the truth? What if mercy could give humanity a weapon greater than all their guns and ships? But still, doubt burned inside him. "Why me?" he asked. The alien's lips curved into the faintest smile, though pain twisted her face. "Because you are the one who found me. Fate chose you, human. Spare me, and I will give you children who will change the galaxy." The silence stretched. Ryan's finger hovered near the trigger, but he did not pull it. His heart raced with conflict. His orders were clear: no alien survives. But his mind whispered a different truth. What if this was humanity's chance at something greater? The ship groaned as fires spread through the broken walls. The battlefield was collapsing, time slipping away. He had to decide now: kill her and end the risk, or spare her and carry the burden of her impossible promise. Her eyes locked onto his, filled with fragile hope. "Please," she begged. "Show mercy." Ryan's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. Sweat dripped down his brow. The weight of his choice pressed down like a mountain. For the first time in his life, the soldier known for his cold heart and sharp trigger finger felt uncertain. And in that moment of silence, with fire roaring around them, humanity's future hung by a thread. Ryan stood frozen, staring at the alien who had just begged for her life. The words still echoed in his mind. "Spare me, human. My body will give you powerful offspring." The smoke in the chamber thickened and the flames crackled in the distance, but he did not move. His rifle was still pointed in her direction, yet his finger refused to squeeze the trigger. He had killed many enemies before. He had faced creatures twice his size, armored beasts that tore men apart, but never had one pleaded like this. Never had one spoken of mercy. Ryan's instincts told him to finish the job. His duty was to Earth, to humanity, to the commanders who would never forgive him if he allowed an alien to live. But deep inside, another voice whispered, what if her words were true? The alien coughed, a sharp sound that brought him back from his thoughts. Blood glistened on her lips, but still she tried to raise her head. Her glowing eyes stayed fixed on him. Human, she whispered again, softer this time. You don't understand what I carry. My kind, we are not like others you have fought. Our children. They are born with gifts, minds that can bend energy, bodies that can heal faster than wounds can kill. If you let me live, if I give you my heirs, your people will become unstoppable. Ryan clenched his jaw. He didn't want to believe her, but her voice carried no threat, only desperation. He took a step closer. Why would you offer this to me? He demanded. Your kind hates us. We've been at war for years. Why not die with pride like the others? Her eyes dimmed, sorrow flickering across her face. Because my people are already gone, she admitted. I am the last female of my race. If I die here, everything we were will vanish. Our enemies will erase us from history. But if I live, if you take my gift, then my kind will live on inside your kind. My legacy will not end in the ashes. Her words struck Ryan deeper than he expected. He thought of Earth, burned cities, ruined colonies, friends buried under rubble. Humanity had also stood on the edge of extinction many times. He understood the fear of losing everything. Still, suspicion burned in his chest. And what if this is a trick? What if your offspring destroy us instead of helping us? The alien shook her head slowly. Her silver hair fell across her face, but she did not break eye contact. Then kill me later. If my words prove false, end me with your own hands. But give me a chance first. One chance, human, that is all I ask. Ryan's heart pounded. The weight of her bargain pressed on him like the gravity of a dying star. To show mercy was against everything he was taught, yet something inside him whispered that fate had led him here for a reason. The ship groaned, metal twisting as explosions rocked the hull. Time was running out. If he left her, she would burn with the ship. If he took her, he would be branded a traitor, and still, he could not pull the trigger. He lowered his rifle slowly. The alien let out a shaky breath as if her fragile hope had kept her alive until this moment. Ryan knelt beside her. What do they call you? He asked, her lips curved into the faintest smile. My name is Solara. He repeated it softly, the strange name heavy on his tongue. Solara. Her glowing hand reached out weakly, resting against his armored chest. You are strong, human, but with me, with what I can give, you will be more than strong. You will be eternal. Ryan felt a shiver crawl down his spine. He had never been tempted by promises of power, yet the way she spoke made the galaxy itself feel within reach. But before he could answer, the sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. Human voices. Soldiers. They were searching the wreckage, and they were close. Solara's eyes widened with fear. Please, hide me. If they find me, they will kill me. You are my only hope. Ryan's heart thundered. If his men discovered him protecting her, he would be court-martialed, maybe executed. But if he let them find her, she would die, and her promise would die with her. The voices grew louder, the light of flash lamps cutting through the smoke. Ryan clenched his teeth. Stay quiet, he whispered, pulling her behind a fallen beam, shielding her with his body. The soldiers passed through the chamber, scanning the wreckage. One of them paused, frowning. Hey, Hale, you find anything? Ryan's mind raced. His pulse hammered in his ears. In his arms, Solara trembled, her hand still pressed against him, her voice silent but her eyes filled with trust. He forced himself to answer, keeping his voice calm. Nothing here. Just more bodies. The soldier nodded, muttered a curse about alien scum, and moved on. The sound of boots faded into the distance. Ryan let out a long breath. He had just lied to his own men. He had crossed a line he could never uncross. Solara looked up at him, her eyes shimmering with gratitude. You chose mercy, she whispered. You chose fate. Ryan stared down at her, his mind torn between fear and curiosity. He had made his choice, but the true cost had only begun. And in the silence of that ruined ship, he knew one truth with terrifying clarity. His life, and perhaps the future of all humanity, would never be the same again. The echo of the soldier's boots slowly faded, leaving only silence and the distant groan of the dying warship. Ryan stayed crouched for a long moment, his pulse still hammering in his ears. Solara's trembling hand rested against his chest, her eyes wide with fragile hope. He had lied to his men. He had broken his oath as a soldier. And yet, as he looked at the alien clinging to life beside him, Ryan knew there was no turning back. "Can you walk?" he asked in a low voice. Solara shook her head weakly. Her wounds were deep, glowing blood seeping from her side. "Not far. But if I rest, I will heal faster. My kind can mend wounds, but I need time." Time. That was the one thing they didn't have. The ship was breaking apart, and soldiers would sweep the wreckage again. If she was found, it would all end. Ryan glanced around, his mind racing. A ruined service tunnel yawned in the wall nearby, half hidden behind fallen metal. It was dark, dangerous, but it would keep them hidden. He lifted her carefully, her body surprisingly light, her skin cold against his armor. Solara winced but did not cry out. Her trust in him was heavy, heavier than any weapon he had carried before. Step by step, Ryan carried her into the shadows of the tunnel. The narrow passage was silent except for the hiss of broken pipes and the distant groans of metal. Ryan laid Solara down gently against the wall. She closed her eyes, her breathing slow and uneven. "You risked everything," she whispered. "Why?" Ryan looked away, his jaw tightening. "I don't know. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I believe your words. Or maybe I just didn't want to kill someone begging for their life." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Mercy is not weakness, human, it is power. One day you will see." Ryan frowned. "You keep talking about power. About children stronger than humans. Why me? Why now?" Solara opened her eyes. They glowed faintly like starlight trapped in glass. "Because you are not like the others. When you looked at me, I saw no hatred, only doubt, only questions. That is rare among your kind, and it is why I trust you." Ryan's heart tightened. He had never thought of himself as different. He was just another soldier, fighting another war. But hearing those words from her stirred something deep inside. Solara's hand brushed against his wrist. "Let me show you." Before Ryan could answer, a soft glow spread from her touch. Images flashed in his mind, visions not his own. He saw towering alien cities under shining suns, children with glowing eyes lifting stones with only their thoughts, warriors healing wounds in seconds, mothers cradling infants who radiated energy like living stars. The vision ended as quickly as it came, leaving Ryan gasping. He pulled back, staring at her in shock. What was that?" he demanded. "My people's gift," Solara said softly. "The power that flows through our blood. If our children are born with both our strengths, they will change everything. They will be your greatest weapon, or your greatest hope." Ryan's breath caught. The vision had been too vivid, too real to be a trick. For the first time, he felt the truth of her words, but doubt still lingered. "And if you're lying? If this is all just to save your own life?" Solara's eyes dimmed with sorrow. "Then I die anyway. But you have already chosen mercy. You carry my secret now. That choice will shape you, human. Whether you want it or not." Ryan said nothing. He leaned back against the wall, staring into the dark tunnel. His chest felt heavy, torn between duty and this strange bond forming with the alien beside him. Hours passed. Outside, the sounds of soldiers searching grew distant. The ship groaned louder, its end drawing near. Ryan closed his eyes briefly, exhaustion pulling at him. But when he opened them, he found Solara watching him. "What is it?" he asked. "You are afraid," she whispered. He let out a bitter laugh. "Of course I'm afraid. If my men discover us, they'll execute me as a traitor. If my commanders find you, they'll burn you alive. And if your words are true, then I might be carrying the future of humanity on my shoulders. Tell me, shouldn't I be afraid?" Solara tilted her head, her silver hair falling over her face. "Fear is not your enemy, Ryan Hale. Fear is proof that you are alive. It is proof that you still have something to lose." Ryan blinked at her words. Few people had ever spoken to him like that, not even his fellow soldiers. For the first time, he realized something frightening. He didn't see her only as the enemy anymore. Suddenly, footsteps echoed again, closer this time. A voice shouted orders. The soldiers were sweeping back through the wreckage. Solara gripped his hand, her glowing eyes wide with fear. "They will find us," she whispered. "If they see me, it is over." Ryan tightened his grip on his rifle. His heart raced. He had already lied once. Now to keep her alive, he would have to go further. The voices drew nearer, Light beams flickered into the tunnel. Ryan pulled Solara deeper into the shadows, his mind burning with one truth. He had already chosen mercy. And now, there was no going back. The tunnel shook as the ship groaned under its own dying weight. Sparks fell from broken wires above. Ryan pressed his back against the cold wall, holding Solara close in the shadows. The voices of soldiers echoed, sharp and commanding, their flashlights cutting through the smoke-filled dark. Solara's breathing quickened. Her glowing eyes locked onto Ryan's face. "They are coming," she whispered. "If they see me, they will kill me." Ryan's heart pounded like a war drum. He had already lied once. Now, with soldiers only steps away, he would have to make another choice. Betray her or betray his own kind. The beam of a flashlight swept across the tunnel. Ryan's pulse froze. He pulled Solara behind a half-collapsed panel, pressing a hand over her lips. Her body trembled against him, but she stayed quiet. "Check that tunnel," a soldier barked. Boots crunched closer. Ryan gripped his rifle, sweat dripping down his brow. If they came any closer, he would have to shoot his own men. His finger brushed the trigger, but then Solara's hand slid over his arm. Her eyes glowed brighter and a strange calm spread into him. A whisper echoed in his mind, not in his ears. "Trust me." Before Ryan could react, the soldiers passed the tunnel mouth, their lights sweeping past without stopping. One muttered, "Nothing here, just rats and smoke." The footsteps faded. The danger passed. Ryan let out a shaky breath, lowering his rifle. He looked at Solara in shock. "What did you just do?" Solara leaned weakly against the wall, her eyes dimming. "A gift of my people. I bent their senses away from us, but it drained me. I cannot do it again so soon." Ryan stared at her. Telepathy, illusions, powers beyond human reach. Her promises were not lies. She was truly dangerous, and truly valuable. But before he could speak, a new alarm wailed through the ship. Red lights flashed across the corridor. A deep rumble shook the walls. Solara's face paled. "No, they are here." Ryan frowned. "Who's here?" "The hunters," she whispered. "The ones who destroyed my people. They followed us. They will burn this ship and everyone on it." As if to answer her, the sound of explosions rocked the hull. The ship shuddered violently, throwing Ryan against the wall. He pulled Solara to her feet, his voice sharp. "Move, we can't stay here." Her legs shook, but with his support, she staggered forward. Together they slipped through the broken tunnel, deeper into the ruined warship. The corridors were chaos. Soldiers ran in every direction, shouting orders, firing at shadows. The floor shook with every blast from outside. Enemy fighters hammered the ship, tearing through its armor. Ryan moved quickly, guiding Solara toward an old maintenance hatch. He had used one before in training. It led to the lower decks, a place few ever searched. But before they could reach it, a squad of soldiers rounded the corner. Their rifles raised, their eyes narrowing at Ryan. "Hale, what the hell are you doing here?" the lead soldier barked. "We heard movement in the tunnels." "Who's with you?" Ryan froze. His grip on Solara tightened. She lowered her head, hiding her glowing eyes beneath her silver hair. "Just me," Ryan said quickly, checking the damage. The soldier stepped closer, suspicion sharp in his gaze. "Then what's that behind you?" Ryan's finger twitched on his rifle. His heart thundered. If they saw her face, it was over. In that moment, the ship shuddered again, a massive explosion tearing through the decks. The lights flickered and died, plunging the corridor into shadow. Soldiers shouted in confusion. Ryan didn't wait. He grabbed Solara's arm and pulled her into a side passage. Bullets sparked against the walls as soldiers fired blindly, but the darkness and smoke covered their escape. "Stop them!" A voice roared behind. Ryan and Solara ran. Their footsteps echoed in the narrow halls, chased by shouts and gunfire. They burst into an old storage chamber. Broken crates and twisted metal littered the floor. Ryan sealed the door behind them, panting. Solara collapsed against a wall, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, filled with fear. "You risked everything for me again." Ryan dropped beside her, his face hard. "Don't thank me yet. They'll find us sooner or later. And when they do, I'll have to kill my own men to protect you." Solara's hand brushed his. "Then we must not be found. You and I, human. We are bound now. You chose me. That choice cannot be undone." Ryan's jaw tightened. He wanted to deny it, but deep inside he knew she was right. Every step he took bound him closer to her, and further from the men he had once called brothers. A loud blast shook the chamber. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Solara's eyes widened. "They are boarding," she whispered. "The hunters. They are coming." Ryan loaded the last of his rifle's ammo. His hands were steady, but his heart was heavy. He looked at Solara, her fragile form trembling, her glowing eyes filled with both fear and trust. The ship was collapsing. The enemy was boarding. His own soldiers were hunting him, and in the middle of it all he carried the secret of a promise that could change the galaxy. Ryan tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then we fight," he said. "Together." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Yes, human, together." Outside, the sound of war thundered closer. The chase had only begun. The ship shook like a dying beast. Metal screamed. Alarms blared. The red lights flashed across every broken corridor. Ryan steadied himself against the wall as Solara clung to his arm. Her eyes glowed faintly, filled with fear. "They are here," she whispered. "The ones who destroyed my people. The hunters." Outside, the sound of heavy impacts thundered through the hull. Ryan could picture it. Enemy ships clawing their way onto the warship, cutting holes into its armor, pouring soldiers inside like a flood. Humanity had faced many enemies, but Solara's terror told him these were worse. He gripped his rifle tightly. The ammo count was low, but it was all he had. "Then we fight," he said, his voice hard. Solara looked at him, her lips trembling. "You don't understand. They are stronger, faster, they kill without mercy. Even my kind could not stop them. That is why we are gone." Ryan's chest tightened, but he didn't look away. "Then we make sure they don't wipe us out, too." Before Solara could answer, the storage chamber door shook violently. A blast tore it open and fire spilled into the room. Figures emerged from the smoke, tall, armored creatures with jagged weapons and glowing red eyes. The hunters. Ryan fired without hesitation. His rifle spat fire, cutting down the first attacker. The recoil hammered his shoulder, but he held his ground. More poured in, their guttural roars filling the chamber. Solara raised her trembling hand. Light shimmered from her palm and a wave of energy burst out. The hunters staggered, shields flickering but did not fall. Ryan dragged her back. "Save your strength," he barked. "I'll hold them off." He fought like a cornered wolf, every shot precise, every movement fueled by survival. But the hunters were endless. For every one that fell, 2 more pushed through the flames. Solara cried out, clutching her side. "We cannot win here. They will keep coming." Ryan's eyes darted to the ceiling. The chamber above was weakened, cracked from earlier blasts. An idea struck. He switched his rifle to grenade mode and aimed upward. "Hold on," he shouted. The grenade exploded, tearing open the ceiling. Metal rained down, crushing the hunters beneath. Smoke and dust filled the room. Ryan grabbed Solara and pulled her through the new opening. Climbing into the corridor above, they stumbled forward, coughing. The sound of hunters echoing behind them. The corridors of the warship were chaos. Human soldiers fought desperately against the invaders, their shouts mixing with screams. The air stank of burning metal and blood. Ryan pressed Solara against the wall, scanning the battlefield. His men were everywhere, firing at the hunters, but he could not join them. If they saw Solara, they would kill her instantly. Solara clutched his arm. "Your people cannot hold them. They will fall," Ryan growled, anger boiling in his chest. "Not if we fight back with everything we have." Solara shook her head. "Not with weapons." "With me," he turned sharply. "What do you mean?" Her glowing eyes locked onto his. "I can give you their weakness. My kind studied them for centuries. I know how to break them, but I can only share it with you. If you let me inside your mind," Ryan hesitated. Her powers had shown him visions before, but this was different. This meant opening himself completely to her, trusting her more than he had trusted anyone in his life. Gunfire thundered nearby. Soldiers screamed. The hunters roared. Time was running out. Ryan's jaw tightened. "Do it." Solara pressed her glowing hands against his head. A wave of heat and light rushed into him. His vision blurred, then cleared into sharp images. Hunters in battle, their armored bodies cracking under specific strikes, their energy cores glowing weak spots in their chests. He felt their patterns, their speed, their fury, and then he felt Solara's fear, her sorrow, her loneliness. He saw her people dying, burning under the hunter's blades. He felt her desperation, her need for survival, her hope in him. When the vision ended, Ryan staggered, gasping. But now he knew. He raised his rifle, his voice steady. I see it. I know how to kill them. Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. Then fight, human. Show me why your kind never bows. They moved through the corridors like shadows. Hunters struck, but Ryan's shots found their weak points, cutting them down with precision. Solara, though weak, used bursts of energy to shield him, each one saving his life at the last second. The ship shook again, massive explosions tearing it apart. They were running out of time. Ryan led Solara into a hangar bay. Flames roared across the deck. Human soldiers fought and fell, their bodies littering the floor. The hunters pushed forward, unstoppable. The human commander, scarred and furious, spotted Ryan. His eyes narrowed when he saw Solara at his side. "Hale, you brought an alien here?" "You traitor!" Ryan froze, his rifle still raised. Solara gasped, stepping back. The commander pointed his weapon at Ryan. "Step away from it, or I'll shoot you both where you stand." Ryan's heart thundered. Soldiers turned, rifles aimed. The hunters advanced, their red eyes glowing. In that moment, Ryan stood between two enemies, his own people and the monsters that had destroyed Solara's kind. He tightened his grip on his rifle, his jaw set. The invasion raged around him. But one truth burned inside. He could not abandon her now, not after everything. The hangar burned like a furnace. Fire licked across the deck. Smoke filled the air, and the cries of dying soldiers echoed through the chaos. Hunters advanced, their glowing eyes scanning for prey. Yet Ryan Hale stood frozen, not because of them, but because of the rifles aimed at him. His own commander, Colonel Vance, had him in his sights. The man's scarred face twisted with rage. "Hale!" Vance barked, his voice sharp as steel. "Step away from the alien. Drop your weapon now." Solara pressed closer to Ryan, trembling. Her glowing eyes shifted between the hunters and the humans. She whispered softly, "If they take me, I will die. You know this." Ryan's chest tightened. He wanted to raise his rifle against the hunters, but now it was his own men who threatened him. Soldiers surrounded them, fingers ready on their triggers. "Colonel," Ryan said, forcing calm into his voice, "she's not what you think. She can help us. She knows their weakness." Vance's eyes narrowed. "You've lost your mind. That creature is manipulating you. She's the enemy. She saved me." Ryan snapped. "She showed me how to kill the hunters. Without her, we're dead." But Vance didn't listen. His gaze hardened. "You're finished, Hale. When this battle ends, you'll face trial for treason." Ryan's stomach twisted. A trial. He had always known betrayal carried a cost, but hearing it spoken aloud struck like a blade. Still, he didn't step aside. Solara's trembling hand touched his arm. "You must choose," she whispered, "them or me." The hangar shook violently as explosions ripped across the deck. Hunters stormed in, slaughtering soldiers without mercy. Screams echoed, blood sprayed, metal cracked. Yet still, the rifles of his own people stayed locked on Ryan. He had no time. Ryan's eyes burned with fury. "If you want to kill me, then fine," he growled. "But if you do, you'll lose the only chance we have to survive." For a moment, silence hung heavy. Soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. Even Vance hesitated, the weight of Ryan's words pressing against his pride. But then a hunter roared, charging toward them. Its glowing core burned like fire in its chest. Ryan reacted first. His rifle fired, the shot piercing the weak spot Solara had shown him. The beast collapsed, smoking and broken. The soldiers stared in shock. Ryan looked back at them, his voice hard. "You see? She told me where to strike. Without her, we're dead. With her, we stand a chance." For a flicker of a moment, he thought they might believe him, but Vance raised his weapon again. "Enough. She dies and you will hang for this, Hale. That's the only way." Solara's grip tightened on Ryan's arm. Her eyes glowed brighter, filled with both fear and trust. "Don't let them take me," she whispered. Ryan's heart thundered. His own men, his brothers, his commander had become the enemy. He had fought beside them for years, bled with them, buried them. And yet, in this moment, he realized the truth. They would never understand. They would rather destroy hope than accept it from an alien. The hunters surged forward again, crashing against the human lines. Gunfire roared, screams filled the air. Soldiers turned their rifles from Ryan to the enemy, forced to fight for their lives. Ryan seized the moment. He pulled Solara back, dragging her into the cover of a burning shuttle. Bullets and energy blasts tore across the hangar as the two armies clashed. Solara coughed weakly, blood glowing on her lips. You saved me again, even from your own kind. Ryan clenched his jaw, his eyes burning. I don't know if I saved you or doomed myself. Her hand brushed his cheek, light flickering faintly from her touch. Every choice shapes destiny. You chose mercy. You chose me. That cannot be undone. Ryan looked away, guilt heavy in his chest. He had crossed a line he could never return from. He wasn't sure if he was a soldier anymore. He wasn't sure if he was even loyal to humanity anymore. But when he looked at Solara, trembling, fragile, yet filled with hope, he knew one thing. He could not abandon her. The battle raged on. Hunters fell. Humans screamed, the hangar burned. In the chaos, Ryan and Solara slipped deeper into the shadows. He guided her through broken pathways, avoiding both soldiers and hunters. At last, they reached a ruined command chamber. Screens flickered, alarms screamed, and the giant window revealed the black void of space. Enemy ships swarmed outside, tearing apart the warship piece by piece. Solara leaned against him, her strength fading. They will destroy everything. Unless you let me help. Ryan looked at her sharply. Help how? Her eyes glowed brighter, fierce despite her weakness. I can reach them. I can bend their senses, twist their minds, slow them. But it will cost me everything. Ryan's stomach nodded. He remembered her earlier powers, the illusions, the visions. If she could use that against the hunters, it might give humanity a chance, but the cost? No, Ryan said firmly. Not if it kills you. Solara smiled faintly. You think I fear death? My people are already gone. But with you, human, with you, there is still a future. Even if I fall, our legacy will rise. Ryan's throat tightened. He wanted to argue, to stop her, but he saw the fire in her eyes. She was ready to sacrifice herself for him, for humanity. And in that moment, Ryan knew the trial of loyalty was not about his commanders. It was not about Earth. It was about Solara. He had already chosen her once. Now he would have to choose her again. Against all odds, against his own kind, against the universe itself. Ryan raised his rifle, standing tall beside her. Then we fight together, whatever it costs. Solara's glowing hand found his, and she whispered, Yes, human, together. Outside, the enemy swarmed closer. Inside, soldiers and hunters clashed in fire and blood. And in the center of it all, Ryan Hale stood with the last alien mother, his heart bound to her fate, ready to face the storm. The warship groaned as though it were alive and in pain. Explosions rocked its metal bones, flames crawling through every corridor. Outside the broken windows, enemy ships swarmed like shadows, tearing at the vessel piece by piece. Ryan Hale stood in the command chamber, Solara leaning against him, her glowing hand clutching his wrist. Her silver hair clung to her face, her breathing ragged, but her eyes burned with fierce light. They are coming, she whispered. This ship cannot hold, but we can still end this. Ryan's jaw tightened. He looked at the broken consoles, the flickering screens, and the endless black beyond. His ammo was almost gone. His own people wanted him dead. And yet in Solara's trembling form, he saw something he had not seen in years. Hope. How? He asked, his voice low. Solara raised her hand weakly. I can reach them. The hunters. Their minds are fire and rage, but I can bend that flame. I can make them blind, slow them, weaken their attack. But, she coughed, glowing blood staining her lips, it will cost me everything. Ryan's chest tightened. He remembered the vision she had shared. The glowing children, the legacy of power, the promise of something greater than war. If she sacrificed herself now, that legacy might die with her. No, he said firmly. Not if it kills you. Her glowing eyes softened. Human, you showed mercy when you could have ended me. That choice gave me life. Now let me give life back to you. To your people. To the galaxy. Ryan shook his head, his voice breaking. I can't lose you, Solara. Not after all this. Her trembling hand touched his cheek, her light flickering. You will not lose me. A part of me will always remain in you and in the future we create. The doors burst open. Hunters stormed in, their glowing eyes burning with hate. Behind them, human soldiers followed, guns raised, not at the enemy, but at Ryan. Drop your weapon, a soldier shouted. Ryan raised his rifle anyway, standing between Solara and the world. His voice was steady. If you want her, you'll have to go through me. The hunters roared and charged. The soldiers hesitated, confusion breaking their lines, and then Solara screamed. Light exploded from her body, blinding the chamber. Her glow spread like a wave, crashing into the hunters. Their roars turned to cries of agony as their red eyes dimmed. They stumbled, slowed, their weapons falling from their hands. Ryan shielded his eyes, his heart hammering. Solara's voice echoed inside his mind. Not words, but feelings. Strength. Love. Hope. When the light faded, the hunters lay broken across the floor, their bodies still. The human soldiers stared in stunned silence. Solara collapsed into Ryan's arms, her glow fading fast. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "It is done." Ryan held her tightly. "Stay with me. Please stay." Her glowing eyes flickered weakly. "I gave too much. My body cannot hold." "No!" Ryan's voice cracked. "You promised me a future. You promised me children who would change everything. You can't leave me now." Her faint smile broke his heart. "I did not lie, human. That future still lives. Inside me, inside you." "It has already begun." Ryan froze, his eyes widening. "What do you mean?" Her fingers brushed his hand, pressing gently against his chest. "Our bond. Our choice. It is already life. You will see." Tears burned in Ryan's eyes as he pulled her close. "Solara, please." Her breath grew shallow. "Show mercy, human. Always. Show mercy." And then her glowing eyes closed. The chamber was silent. Smoke drifted. The soldiers lowered their rifles, their faces pale with awe. Even Colonel Vance stood frozen, his voice gone. Ryan knelt on the floor, cradling Solara's still body in his arms. The woman who had been enemy, captive, mother, and savior was gone, but her words remained. Her promise remained. Ryan rose slowly, carrying her. His face was hard, his step steady. The soldiers parted as he walked past them. None dared to stop him. None dared to speak. Outside the window, the enemy ships broke apart, retreating into the void. Solara's final act had saved them, but for Ryan, victory tasted like ash. Later, when the fires died and the ship drifted quiet, Ryan stood alone in the medbay. Solara's body lay at rest, glowing faintly even in death. His chest ached, his soul torn, and then he felt it. A faint warmth inside him, not his own. A whisper in the silence. Not words, but life, her promise, her legacy. Ryan closed his eyes, his heart steady. Solara was gone, but what they had begun was not. The future she had spoken of, the children of unimaginable power, was real, and now it was his duty to protect it. He whispered into the silence, his voice strong. "I showed you mercy, and I will carry your legacy, always." Outside, the stars burned bright, silent witnesses to the birth of something new. The war was not over, but humanity's story had changed forever.